employee, Angie brings passion to her new role, whether working from the office or from home, and is excited to see how her ideas can come to life. But Angie's story as an educator begins long ago. As a special education teacher and administrator for the past 8 years, Angie brings a lot of experience to her role. Over the years, she has grown professionally, learning mostly from her students on what they need to learn, grow, and become a part of the community they love. Angie has already started brainstorming ideas to further help students with disabilities. After a few short months, Angie has started settling into her new role, meeting colleagues from her division, attending stakeholder meetings, and talking with districts about what's going well and the challenges they are facing. Angie starts to think about those ideas she came to the agency with and wonders how she can put them into action. As she looks ahead, she realizes there is an annual event at the agency and thinks this may be a start to incorporate some of her ideas to help meet the needs of teachers and students. However, Angie isn't quite sure where to start. Where will the event be? How will the presenters be paid? Is she responsible for reserving hotel rooms? Luckily, there are 2 experts right in her division who will be there to help every step of the way. Meet Mei Ling and Ellie, who are state program administrators. In the special education division, this role assists staff with purchases, contracts, grants, and general budget and project management. In addition, the SPAs are a liaison between the Special Education Division and the Agency Finance Division and often answer frequently asked questions. Throughout these videos, Mei Ling and Ellie will explain the processes involved in common fiscal procedures. This video contains information on the Contract Division, information on specific types of contracts, and the steps that are necessary for special education staff when entering into a contract with a vendor. When thinking about entering into a contract with a vendor, it is good for Angie to know the different types of contracts. The contracts discussed in this video are the most frequently used in special education. We will also be discussing these contracts in general terms, but more specific information can be found in the Division Teams SharePoint site. An Annual Plan Agreement, or APA, is a contract used for 1 fiscal year, can be funded for up to $5,000, and has no bidding process. An Equity Select contract is used for vendors that have applied and been identified as targeted, economically disadvantaged, or veteran-owned businesses. This would include businesses that are women or minority-owned, or businesses and/or owners that reside in economically disadvantaged locations. TGEDVO contracts, as they are commonly referred to, can be up to $25,000 over multiple fiscal years and require no bidding process. Interagency and joint powers agreements can be made for up to 5 fiscal years for any amount. The last item on the list is a professional technical contract via single source or a request for proposal. These contracts are done when amounts exceed $5,000 and the vendor is not any of the above listed. If using a single source, it must be proven that no other nationwide vendor can perform the desired tasks. A request for proposal involves certification and bidding process. While it may take time to become familiar with the different types of contracts, it is helpful to know that the contract staff will direct you to the types of contract that best fits the scope of work, budget, and timeline. At MDE, the Contracts Unit is a part of the Agency Finance Division and usually consists of 3 to 4 contract specialists. 1 contract specialist is assigned to every contract that is submitted in the agency. In addition to reviewing the scope of work, budget, and timeline of the contract, the unit is also responsible for encumbering funds and creating a purchase order. Some of the contract specialists also have a law degree and assist in the legal review of all agency contracts before submitting to the Office of State Procurement for review. The Contracts Unit also holds a training and updates the Contracts Manual on a yearly basis. The Contracts Manual and training videos are linked in the Division Team's SharePoint site for your reference. Let's take a look at the steps needed to prepare and execute a contract. The division staff, the SBA staff, and the contract staff work together to help execute this plan in a team effort. This is a general overview of the contract process, but every contract is different, so there may be steps or details that aren't listed in this tutorial. Communication between the divisions is key to help make any contract a success. Some contracts can be executed in as little as 4 weeks, but most will take around 6 to 8 weeks, so it's important to keep the timeline in mind while preparing. Next, Angie meets with Mei Ling and Ellie to learn more about developing a contract. Angie knows that her event is more than 3 months away, so she has plenty of time to secure a presenter and execute a contract. However, Angie has never written a contract or budget before and wonders how she will complete this unfamiliar task. Mei Ling and Ellie assure her that there are many colleagues and resources available to help answer questions and assist her in the process. To help get her started, they go over the contract checklist. Included in this list are deciding a contract start and end date, developing a scope of work and budget, listing a statute number if the work is required by statute, vendor information including general contact information, and overall ensuring no work starts before the execution of the contract. As the content specialist and authorized representative of the contract, one of the most important duties is to writing a scope of work. Details and small nuances can be important to getting the desired outcomes of a project. A good place to start is to think about what the vendor will do. Examples include presentations, trainings, providing facilitation support, implementing or reviewing an evidence-based practice, among others. Next, you might consider what the deliverables will be, such as an end-of-the-year report, monthly data collection, or a one-time application review. In addition, details like timelines, specific dates, location, and the number of hours expected should be exact, and knowing if gatherings will be held in person, virtually, or both. The content of the deliverables is important as it will help drive the results that you are seeking. There is a fine balance of having a robust scope of work and being in compliance of the legality of a contract. The questions listed here should help fuel the writing process, but there are also examples of different types of scope of work filed in the Division Team's SharePoint folder to use as a resource. The SPA team has experience in most types of contract work and can assist in the writing process. Supervisors can also be an invaluable resource. And lastly, the Contracts Unit is very helpful and knowledgeable and can answer any questions that have you puzzled. When writing a contract, it truly takes a village. Once a scope of work has been written with the deliverables defined, it is now time to write a line item budget. A vendor is commonly paid by deliverable, by the hour, or both. Travel expenses that the vendor will incur should also be included in the overall total. In some cases, and especially when doing an RFP, the vendor will propose a line item budget based on the total amount, which you can approve or negotiate to meet the needs of MDE and the vendor. Other common line items to consider including in the contract budget are funds for materials, meeting spaces, and subcontractors. Any item that the vendor will be paid for or seeking reimbursement for should be included in the budget. For your reference, several sample budgets are filed in the Division Team's SharePoint folder. After Angie completes step 1 and 2 of the process, the third step is to enter the contract information into the fiscal survey. The survey is a tool that the Special Education Division uses to gather information and to document requests into one centralized place. The survey will guide Angie to input information such as start and end dates, contract amounts, scope of work and budget, along with the vendor information. After completing a survey, a copy of Angie's request will be sent to her assigned SPA, plus a copy for herself. Angie has been approved to use $10,000 towards this project. $5,000 will go toward a presenter contract, and the other $5,000 will be split among 2 school districts for agreeing to participate in and share data for a pilot program. Based on the information we know, it is likely the presenter contract will be an APA because it is $5,000 or less and is for one event in one fiscal year. The contracts for $2,500 each will be joint powers agreements because they will be partnered with a school district. However, the contract specialist will review the scope of work and budget and determine the final assigned contract. The next steps in the process are mostly completed by the division SPA and the assigned contract specialist. However, there will be comments, questions, and approvals that will need Angie's attention, so she should be on the lookout for emails and even meeting invites that may come her way. The contract specialist will be working behind the scenes to be sure the contracts meets legal standards and will obtain approval from the Office of State Procurement. In addition, purchase orders will be made to encumber funds. Once the entire contract is ready to be signed, the contract administrator will send an electronic copy of the contract to the vendor to sign. Once the contract is signed by the vendor and the legal authority at MDE, work can begin. After meeting with Mei Ling and Ellie, Angie feels grateful to have access to so many resources to help her understand and complete this new process. While talking with a few colleagues, she learns that it will probably take a few contracts to get the hang of the process, but that the effort can positively and directly impact students with disabilities. Angie has been talking with her supervisor on how her work can be done to have the greatest impact and what fiscal tools she should use to implement her projects. They discuss how some contracts may be beneficial for one type of work, and how other contracts, even those that are unfamiliar or more time-consuming, may be a better tool to reach the population in need. Angie is encouraged to think of these questions when developing her project. Why is the work important for special education, and why does it need to be done? How will the work be implemented? How will the outcomes be measured? What tool, contracts or otherwise, will best be used to put ideas into action and bring results? Where can alignment and collaboration be found? How can a renewable project be regularly examined and redefined if necessary? These questions, along with success stories, samples of scope of work and budget, and other resources can be found in the Division Team's SharePoint site. If you have questions about contracts or any other fiscal procedure, don't hesitate to contact your assigned state program administrator. Thank you.